So it would seem that investors are a little bit upset with Elon. I'm not sure how much Elon cares, but Tesla's not doing quite as well as they had hoped, or because these guys in corporations, incorporated businesses, got to make more money every year, every year, every year without fail. And of course, infinite growth is impossible, especially when you have a shit product. Because Tesla is junk. I've driven in a few of them, and the idea. I like the idea of electric vehicles. I like the idea of the torque of them. There's lots of things about them I like, but they're junk, and they got a lot of issues, and they've got a lot of supply issues with raw materials for the batteries and the lithium and the cobalt. Look up cobalt mining Africa. I'll put a picture of it here somewhere. But I mean, a whole lot of it is has to do with expectations that are over and above what are reasonable. And so, and of course, Elon's got his iron in a lot of fires, or a lot of irons in a lot of fires. And he's got a lot of things on the go and a lot of things that he wants to do. And of course, he's drawing resources from Tesla. Most recently, it seems, engineers to bring to XAI. The guy who tells us how dangerous AI is developing more AI to compete with ChatGPT, which he says is dangerous AI. Like, make up your mind. So obviously, none of these guys have seen, The Terminator or like a countless other movies that, where we all die because of AI. And because ultimately, I mean, it seems to be well understood by most anybody that's involved with this or watched science fiction or is involved with, in this type of development, that eventually artificial intelligence would have to come to the conclusion that the biggest threat to human beings are human beings, or the biggest threat to the planet is human beings, which is, probably ridiculous. But that's what the end result is going to be. Especially if that's what you put in somebody's minds. They're putting that into children's minds right now. That CO2 is bad for the environment. Without CO2, I mean, we're at the lowest levels really we should be at as far as CO2 goes. We could go a little lower, but 400 parts per million or 420 parts per million, whatever it is right now, is 0.4%, 0.42%. Plants start to die below 0.2%, and we need all this green you see around me to survive, so it can create oxygen for us to breathe. So CO2 is kind of important. We're nowhere near the, like we could probably go 30, 40, 50 times more CO2 and not be a problem. And so it's all nonsense. But, all these stock investors and all this are worried about Tesla. Screw Tesla. I don't care about Teslas. I think they're junk. I think most of the vehicles out there today are junk. They get too much electronics in them, too much emission controls. They spend more, they create more CO2 or more poison into them. They put more poison into the environment trying to control the emissions from engines than if they just left them alone in the first place. I mean, the extra, the raw materials in the manufacturing that goes into the extra parts to try and control emissions creates more emissions than what they save. I mean, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's, it's very circuitous. It does create more money. It generates more money, more revenue for, not for me, but for somebody. And so, if Tesla is suffering and the robot taxis are not working, like who the hell wants robot taxis? Didn't anybody see Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Red Planet or remember the Marsh or whatever the hell it was called? The robot taxis went crazy. He had to rip its head off and drive the machine himself. Although with the new robot taxis, I mean, you won't be able to rip anything's head off. I mean, I don't think there'll be a little dummy sitting up in the front seat. The taxi, and it'll be stronger than you. The robots are creating are stronger than you. I mean, they're made of steel, aluminum, military-grade aluminum from Alcan. So, and you can tell it's military-grade aluminum when you see a Ford truck that, with a military-grade aluminum frame that catches fire on the highway and the frame melts and runs across, pools across the road. I've seen it a few times. You can tell it's military grade when it's pooling. So, what do you guys expect from a guy that's, got his mind on a dozen different things? I don't know that he really cares about Tesla or cares about the investors. I mean, that's very clear when he's calling out Disney and, and doesn't care about advertisers on X and doesn't care about different things. He's out to create and do what he desires. you know, and his desires are more important than investors' pocketbooks. And maybe they should be. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't be. I guess it depends on what he desires and what he's creating. But, I mean, uh, you know, if Nikola Tesla was alive today and seeing what they put his name on, I think he'd be shocked. He'd say, well, this is junk. This. My idea was free energy, not an electric car that is doesn't come close to being free, is not, does not work within the parameters of the environment, that it's in. It works well outside that. And it's spying on your every move. It knows everything you do. It knows more about you than you do. So, I don't think Tesla's at risk of failing. I think some investors might lose some money. Ultimately, the big losers are the consumers. And the people who bought this junk, buying this Cybertruck I seen one here recently, this thing is junk as a tin can. I don't care if you can't put an arrow or a bullet through it. It's junk. You can't do any work with it. I mean, I have several trucks and I have them to work. This is not a work truck. I don't know what the hell it is. And and it's ugly. Yeah, Elon is not in this, I don't think, anymore for the investors. So the investors should get that out of their head. And I mean, I think he has to appease them to a certain level because, of the legalities of being incorporated and being in business. But really, what is it that Elon is trying to accomplish himself? And if you understand that, you'll see what he's doing, and then everything that he's doing and why he's pulling resources from one place and put them in another will all make sense. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows except him. Maybe his brother or somebody that's real close to him, but certainly not us way out on the fringe that are talking about Elon as if we know him, So if you're thinking about investing in Tesla, which I've been telling people for years, don't. I mean, if you did a few years ago and you invested, you jumped out fine, but don't. And look at something that's truly worth your time and effort, and Tesla's not it. Maybe invest in a local farm, something like that. Help out somebody local that actually can benefit from your investment. I hope you ponder that. Cheers.